Auspicious greetings. Welcome to the Humanistic Buddhism Colloquium on Compassionate Futures. I'm your MC for this plenary, Catherine Lee, from Shan Institute of Humanistic Buddhism. Without further ado, we will now invite Venerable Guang, the Deputy Chancellor of Shan Institute of Humanistic Buddhism, to moderate this opening plenary.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, esteemed guests, speakers, and participants. My name is Guang from Shan Institute of Humanistic Buddhism. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my honor to welcome you to the Humanistic Buddhism Colloquium on Compassionate Futures. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the escalating global challenges that confront us: the climate changes, social inequality, homelessness, population displacement, and widespread of mental health issues. In these uncertain times, the teachings of Buddhism offer profound insights and practices for cultivating compassion, interconnectedness, and resilience. This colloquium is dedicated to exploring the future of compassion across various contexts. Over the next 24 hours, we will engage in a unique time zone relay connecting Asia, Europe, America, and Oceania. This format ensures that each of you will have the opportunity to participate in live sessions with our esteemed speakers, regardless of your location. In addition to keynote presentations, we will feature 2 postgraduate student panels, providing a platform for emerging scholars to share their research and insights. We believe that fostering the next generation of thinkers is essential for the continued evolution of compassionate practices. We are privileged to have presenters from around the world, including Australia, Europe, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and the United States. Their diverse perspectives will enrich our discussions and deepen our understanding of humanistic Buddhism and its application to contemporary issues. To begin, we would like to present you a video message by Most Venerable Hsing, the head abbot of Shan Order, on the role of humanistic Buddhism in today's world.
吉祥。
今天可以说是历史性的一刻，那么同时也欢迎大家特别的莅临。可以说，在人间佛教的推广上，我们又迈向了更超越的一步。人间佛教是星云大师的一个弘法理念，那么也是佛光山的一个很主要的中锋思想，也是大师一生弘法不遗余力的一个理念。那么相信大家对于人间佛教都是体验非常深刻的。一般呢，我们都是讲佛教了，那么大师呢特别把佛教，那么让我们更加的体验出佛教佛法就是呢要在人间，要在生活中去体验，可以说是我们身心的一个依靠。那么其实佛法我们也常讲，佛法就在生活里面， 所以在行住坐卧当中，我们感受到佛法；在工作作物之间，我们领纳到佛法的殊胜。如同说，每一个人，不管我们在哪一个阶层，每一个人都需要智慧啊，每个人呢都需要努力啊，也就是精进啊，每个人都需要慈悲，每个人都需要包容，随时随地，那这不就是人间佛教吗？所以人间佛教呢，它是普遍性的，除此之外呢，也是深入性的，深入到我们的内心里面，这样呢，我们才讲解行并重。所以今天研究丛书的发布，可以说我们对人间佛教能够起一个更深一层的体验。在佛教里面讲经律论，这个论呢，它是在解释经典的，把经典的含义再做一个深入的阐述，就像大智度论一样。大智度论呢，就是在解释大品般若经。所以呢，在这个论集当中呢，我们对佛法可以更加的体验深刻。所以呢，以论来讲，我们说可以去除我们种种的疑惑了。所以我们显证就可以破除很多的疑惘。那么在问答之间呢，更能够明确我们的佛法意义跟方向。所以今天的发布会可以说意义非常的深远。那么再次感谢大家特别的莅临，让我们今天的发布会更加的深具意义，更加的大家欢喜。好，几句共勉，大家平安吉祥，谢谢。
Thank you, Most Venerable Xingbao, for your kind words and helping us understand how humanistic Buddhism, background in Buddhism as a whole, is aimed at providing peace and happiness in every walks of life, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, as long as we have faith in the guidance of the Dharma. Next, we would like to invite Venerable Dr. Jue Wei, Director of Nantian Institute Humanistic Buddhism Center, also the brilliant mind behind this colloquium, to give an introduction to the colloquium.
Thank you, Venerable Miao Guang, for inviting me to say a few words. Venerables, friends, and fellow travelers, please allow me to start with a little background into this rather special Humanistic Buddhism colloquium. It all started in 2021. If you recall, that was during the COVID lockdown period. The Institute of Humanistic Buddhism in Shan headquarters and Nantian Institute in Australia co-organized the 8th International Symposium in Humanistic Buddhism. It was held completely online and attracted over 900 registrants from 13 countries worldwide. In fact, it was so successful that we were encouraged to organize another online gathering of like minds today. This time, though, we listened to the feedback from our global participants who lamented that they could not attend the sessions due to time zone differences. Hence, I believe that we have pioneered something new this year, a 24-hour time zone relay across the world so that everyone can listen to some panels live anytime. But for this to happen, we started planning almost 2 years ago among the Shan Institute of Humanistic Buddhism, the University of San Carlos in the Philippines, the University of Malaya in Malaysia, VU Amsterdam, University of the Western America, and Nantian Institute here in Australia. We also thank the Hsing Education Foundation Australia for their generous sponsorship. So over the next 24 hours, you will see that different institutions around the world will take turns to host this truly global dialogue on humanistic Buddhism's role in shaping compassionate futures. Hence, you will also find that you will be joining each panel using different Zoom links. Please accept our apologies in advance for the inconvenience in order for this unique event to proceed smoothly. The program features a wide range of topics, ensuring that discussions span various dimensions of compassion in theory and practice. Our panels cover spiritual care, chaplaincy, the 3 acts of goodness, interfaith dialogue in multi-religious societies, mental health, addiction, environmentalism, community building, and much, much more. And as Venerable Miao Guang has stated, another special feature of this year's colloquium is our postgraduate student panels to highlight the innovative perspectives from our emerging scholars. The world today reminds me of the burning house parable in the Lotus Sutra. I believe that it will take many different carts or perhaps spaceships to pull us out of this burning house. I look forward to learning from our 42 speakers around the clock on how to address pressing challenges through the compassionate principles of humanistic Buddhism. It is our sincere hope that this colloquium will ignite conversations that will lead to actionable insights, fostering a future where compassion and loving kindness will guide our decisions and actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Venerable Zhewei, for giving us a clear picture of what to expect within the next 24 hours. We'll be sure to find our way out of the burning house with the cooling effect and guidance of a compassionate future. Now, if Venerable Zhewei hasn't already mentioned the names of our important collaborators, allow me to use this opportunity to introduce you to the organizers of this colloquium. We would like to express our gratitude to the event organizers. First of all, the Institute of Humanistic Buddhism in Shan, Taiwan. And secondly, the Humanistic Buddhism Center, Nantian Institute of Higher Education in Australia. The Institute for the Study of Humanistic Buddhism at the University of the West in USA. And the Humanistic Buddhism Research Center at the University of Malaya in Malaysia. Next, the Humanistic Buddhism Center at the University of San Carlos, the Philippines, also at Guang College in the Philippines. Last but not least, the Dutch Buddhist Seminary at VU Amsterdam. Their collaborative efforts have made this global gathering possible, and we are sure that in the next 24 hours, we will have the exciting opportunity to dwell into the diverse scope of humanistic Buddhist studies. I myself am looking forward to this very much. As we embark on this journey together, let us remain open-hearted and open-minded, embracing the teachings and discussions that will unfold. May this colloquium inspire us to cultivate compassion in our lives and communities, paving the way for a more harmonious and resilient world. To do so, we now present a video on the past, present, and future of humanistic Buddhism, a video message given by Venerable Master Hsing, the founding master of Shan.
现在在各位这个前面呢，我想为人间佛教来说4句话。 为人间佛教定的总要。第一句，人间佛教啊，它是以家国为准，因为我们每一个人都有一个家庭嘛。我主张人不可以随便出家，你要出家要度众生呢，要弘法利生呢，你要从家庭开始啊。所以这个佛教啊，很重视家庭这个和谐，家国为准。这个有了家庭，有国家，国家兴亡，匹夫有责。自古以来呀，佛教它和政治不对立。在政治上，虽然说佛教不参与政治啊，政治上是谁当家做主，我们都拥护。当然，我们也希望政治啊，对了，保护佛教，护持佛教。所以，释迦牟尼佛啊，也把这个所以佛教护法的责任呢，交给国王、王公大臣。这既然人家要以家庭、国家为依靠，那么人间佛教的第二个重要啊，这个生活合理。因为所谓人间佛就是重视生活的，就是说，我们中国四大名山，南海普陀山的观世音，四川峨眉山的文殊，山西五台山的普贤，安徽九华山的地藏王。这个四大菩萨就是这人间化的悲智、大悲、大智、大勇、大愿。你看，我们要立志做人，我们要有智慧啊。所以悲智永恒呢，就是人间的精神。所以这个生活合理呀，因为人在世界上不能说离开生活，你经济的生活，你感情的生活，你物质的生活，你人物人群的群我的关系，你要合理呀。所以需要人间佛教正当的这个五戒十善啊、三好、四谛、五和、六度啊，这些路人间佛教的道理啊，来帮忙，把我们的生活这个合理化。第三呢，人间佛教啊，应该是要重视人间因缘。我们知道，释迦牟尼佛在菩提树下一度明心，开悟了，证果成道了。悟的什么？悟的就是因缘。这个世界之上，哪一样东西能离开因缘能存在的？所有的这个世界都是彼此相互依存，没有士农工商，我们吃饭穿衣 怎么办？没有实际交通工具，对了，我们要到哪里去？怎么走？走路都辛苦。所以我们的生活，我们在这个世界上存在，都两来世间的因缘，不只是我们有缘来相聚了，我们的这一切缘聚之成，缘散之灭。所以我们在人间佛教里面，我叫他佛陀成道证悟的话，这个缘起缘灭，诸法因缘生，诸法因缘灭。这个缘起很重要的。人间佛教啊，第四个重要，心意啊，和乐。我们在世间不是为了痛苦而来的，也不是为了斗争、烦恼而来的。我们在世界上做人，我们希望免于恐惧，不要受压迫，不要受欺凌，我感到很平安、安全，我感到人生很快乐、很喜悦。刚才说的讲苦啊，是通过苦，对我要有快乐，要有未来。无常，因为懂得无常，我知道努力改善我自己。人间佛教讲得深奥一点，这个三藏12部啊，经理人戒定慧，都是人间佛教。讲来简单一点，我刚才就是说，我来为人间佛教的重要。第一，家国为尊呢；第二呀，是生活合理呀；第三，是人间因缘呐，在人间要有因缘呐；第四啊，心意呀要活络。这个4句话，16个字，我想谁不能把人间佛教全部说个究竟，大概就等于刚才说什么叫人间佛教，佛说的、人要的、净化的、生命的，就是了。
Thank you very much. These were the tenets of humanistic Buddhism brought forth by Venerable Master Hsing Yun. We feel that his advice and thoughts about the future of humanistic Buddhism is very timely and aligns with the theme of this colloquium. Let us work together to enhance our worldly interactions, to value our opportunities within our family and country, to strengthen social cohesion, and at the same time, to work towards inner peace, which enables every one of us to respond to others with patience, care, and this shall definitely contribute to a harmonious society and future. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker of the colloquium, Dr. Lewis R. Lancaster, who will present on compassionate futures. Dr. Lancaster is Emeritus Professor of UC Berkeley. He's also the founder of ECHI, and a well-respected teacher to many of us in the Shan University Consortium. Not only has he served as president of the University of the West, he has offered his invaluable education insights also to Nantian Institute and Shan's Monastic Education Institutes. We are very honored to have Dr. Lancaster here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lancaster with a round of applause for his keynote speech.
Thank you very much, Venerable. I so much enjoyed seeing Master Hsing, and it interested me that what he was talking about seems so relevant to today. His message is not aged. It was really nice. Thank you for bringing that to us. Well, hello, everybody. I'm really very honored to be asked to give this talk. Compassionate Future is a very challenging topic, and I will try to do my best with it. But first, I want to tell you that an experience I had as I was preparing this lecture. I had a childhood memory. And in my childhood memory, I remembered when I was 9 years old, and I was summertime, and I was trying to keep myself occupied, living in a rather remote area, and I conceived a game. And the game was that I had access to the world's most powerful information machine. And I could ask any question, and the answer would appear in the clouds above me. And I played that game for a long time. And I realized as I was working on this, here I am, 92 years old, delivering a lecture that's primarily in the cloud, and I'm dependent upon the cloud for all of my information. And I just wanted to share that with you. Let's go to the lecture itself. Tom Stoppard wrote the wonderful play Arcadia. And I think that what he said is still applicable to us today. In that play, one of the characters says the most remarkable line, "It's the best possible time to be alive when almost everything you thought you knew is wrong." And I feel that that has come upon us. It's much more meaningful now than it was when he wrote that. Paul Gopstein helped us a little bit by giving another reading to what we are trying to say. He said scientific statements are not either claims or approximations to truth, but provisional stories reflecting human perspectives that get progressively less wrong. That's all any of us can do today. You can't get it right. whatever you get within a second or within a day may well be replaced by completely new information. We have to learn to live with the fact that our role is not to get it right. Our role is just to get it a little less wrong. That we can do. And that's the best we can do. What we live with today is the robot. When we look back to Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, we see that a robot must not injure. It must obey the orders given by a human. And it can only protect its existence when it does not conflict with the first 2. I think we still need to think about what he said. The first death caused by a robot that we know of was at the Ford plant in Michigan in 1979. A robot malfunctioned and killed a worker. And so what we have today, I can't imagine what Asimov would say. We have robots, drones we call them, and they are actively participating in war. We have left behind those issues which at one time we felt put some constraints on the robotics for our livelihood. Turing was one of the great tragedies of our lives, I think. He developed the machine which allowed the British to break the German codes. And in many ways, he brought about and helped to end World War II, and he saved millions of lives. But he was treated so poorly that he committed suicide. And I always like to give him credit. What he was after was, he said, a computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it could deceive a human into believing it was a human. I wonder what he would think if he came and looked at what we live with today with AI. We live with the beginning of a world filled with bots. But bots are not always so successful. We have what's called the Erie Valley of the bot. That is, when you first start working on a bot and making the eyes and the face, it doesn't look human to us. There's an eerie feeling about it, and we find ourselves repelled by it. But of course, that's not to stand in the way of what began to happen. When we look at today, we have models like this beautiful young woman she has never existed as a human. That's simply a creation of artificial intelligence. And you can have 100,000 copies of different models if you want, none of them real. So when we're talking about living in a world in which there is a compassionate future, the future is of robotics. The future is filled with bots. I'm trying to create a bot of myself. And it's very, very difficult. And I have the help of a person who has already done a bot, but it's expensive, it's time consuming, and yet I really feel that the future is that we will all have bots of ourselves, and those bots will have all of our information, all of our medical information, everything that we've ever written in our computers. If we publish everything we've published, everything we've ever said, whatever data we have, we will preserve it in our bot. And that's going to be really helpful. But the question for the future is, what do we do about emotions? This is an AI-created image. None of this is real that I'm showing you. AI reproduced this. And it's AI's approach to what would happen if a bot fell in love with a human and a human fell in love with a bot, a robot. And would it, will the future be that bots have so much emotion that a bot can feel jealousy and anger at the action of another bot? We're just entering this world. We're just beginning to deal with it. But I feel comfortable when I say to you that the future of compassion is going to have to figure out how we deal with compassion in terms of these robots. Now, I'd like to shift a bit and speak about some of the big issues which we face in the future. It has been said, and I think it's very true, the future is not just something that we're going to live through. We will, but what we need to do is rescue the future. There is something we must do right now. We must start, if we can, today, to rescue the future. What do I mean about rescuing the future? It means that let's think of all the issues that the future is going to bring for us. One of the major things is that's going to come at us is we're going to have to deal with what will happen in terms of our populations. Look at 1960 in the United States. 1960, the graph of age and numbers of people was almost perfect for dealing with all the issues of life. It was broad at the bottom, and it was very tiny at the top. That is, there weren't too many old people. There were plenty of working people. The middle part of the graph, for those in the 40s and 50s, was fully enough to maintain the world. But look at the projection for 2060. In 2060, we have quite a different image of what the world will be like. Now you might say, how do you know that it's going to be like this? Well, the one thing that you can't cheat on is birth. How many children are born? And no matter what else you do have that population information. It's like what we're facing today. We don't have enough people to go to college. Our universities are struggling to find enough people. How could that be? And of course, it can be because 18 years ago, fewer births. And that demographic, you can bet on it. It's the one sure thing which you can make predictions for the future are the demographics. And so what will we do in a world in which we have more and more old people like myself and fewer and fewer people to help take care of them? For example, here's what the demographics say. In 1950, only 8% of the world's population was over the age of 60. But by 2000, that had climbed to 10%. And based on the demographics of today, by the middle of this century, those 60 and above will be 21% of the world's population. So that is the first major future that we need to think about. How are we going to handle this demographic shift? How are we going to take care of an aging population? It's going to be an enormous challenge in the face of many other challenges. And we've just had another challenge. We had a pandemic. We had a pandemic that circled the globe. We had the COVID virus. It came into our lives suddenly. It immediately changed life. We had to close our schools. We had to close down activities in many parts of the world. We were reminded of the Black Plague. But the difference between COVID and the Black Plague is very significant. The Black Plague went on for years. It mainly was killing people from 1347 to 1351. And places in Europe lost half of their population, a third of their population. Whole villages and towns were wiped away. It wasn't the case when we faced COVID. COVID, within a month, was worldwide. because we have airplanes. We fly everywhere. The air was filled with airplanes, and in those airplanes was COVID. And it was being delivered to Australia, to India, to South America, to Canada. It was being sent all over the world. So we were faced with an enormous problem. But there was one big difference between the Black Plague and COVID. We had the ability to quickly produce a vaccine. And you can see where the support for all of this happened. Europe primarily, and North America, with Singapore and China in Asia. These nations could do a quick vaccine. So we have the ability, fortunately, to keep COVID from being a long-term plague. I contracted COVID, and I struggle with it. It was before I got vaccinated. I had to take all of the antiviral medications to try to deal with it as an older person. And when you took the COVID test at the beginning of it and you're over 80, your chances were not too good. It was almost like a death sentence. We forget our hospitals were filled with people. We forget that many of those people died. And yet, the issue that comes before us today is that if we have the ability, that part of the compassionate future is that we have the wherewithal, if we want to use it, to protect and keep us from these terrible, destructive things. We have the ability to do this. If it hadn't been for AI, artificial intelligence, we could not have done this compassionate thing of developing a vaccine so quickly. It might have taken years to have developed it instead of months. We are living in a time when we have at our disposal enormous powers. AI is a funny thing to me. AI is based on language. That's how it operates. It operates on having large sets of language data and makes prediction of what the next word, the next phrase, the next paragraph, the next book, the next poem. It can predict what it's going to be. Who knew that our language had such power? We didn't know we had it. We spoke our language, but we never knew that language had within it the key to this enormous power that could change everything in the world. So what do we do with our knowledge in terms of dealing with the future? We have to dedicate ourselves, it seems to me, to making sure that we do use this power in the proper way. You know, in my country, we had a situation where some group somewhere in the world hacked into our electrical grid system, and they demanded millions of dollars in bitcoins, or they would shut down the whole eastern coast of the United States, turn off the electric power, and not allow it to be turned back on. And there was nothing anybody could do about it. They were very clever. They had totally infiltrated, because we didn't have, at that time, the controls over people hacking into our systems. So there you have it. AI could, on one hand, produce a vaccine that would save thousands of lives and do it quickly. And be compassionate if you wish. And yet people could take the same process and turn it into something so destructive and so potentially damaging. And so they walked away with a lot of money. They didn't get to keep it all, but they got enough. And nobody, I think, still is absolutely sure who did it or where they were operating from. So we live in a world where even the most wonderful developments in our computer world have two sides, a dark side and a potentially creative side. So when we talk about the compassionate future, we must already begin, all of us, to think about ways in which we can protect and deal with what people are going to do with all these new powers that we have. You know, we never had anything like AI before, never. And we're still not sure of how far it's going to go. We're not sure of what it will do to the world. So our benevolent future must be to try to determine how we can protect and defend and make this a positive, transformative element in our lives. I have granddaughters. Many of you, I'm sure, have children. How can we protect their world? How can we make the world for them livable, productive? How can we give them the kind of safety, the kind of comfort, which many of us have been able to have in our lifetime? So we are constantly being asked to understand that the future compassionate means functioning right now. It doesn't mean you wait till the future to deal with issues. It means the future is being produced at this moment. And we must figure out how we can deal with it at this moment. There are many problems we're going to face. Water. I was amazed to read that there are many places in the world where there is not enough water to wash your hands. There is only enough water to drink. For those of us who run in and turn on a tap and spray and pour out gallons of water for a bath, we're fortunate. So our future, though, is that the water stress will become greater. We feel that the Earth's climate is changing and that we humans have changed it. And we will become more and more water stressed, which means, where do you find fresh water? Where are the places where fresh water can be had? And where are the places where you can't even wash your hands? And how will we, in compassionate work, figure out ways in which we can share or help create an environment where these terrible shortages can be at least alleviated to some degree? That's why I say that we are living in a time when we must start the future today. Air pollution is another one of these issues. Air pollution is affecting all across the globe. And then we need to figure out what to do with this compassionate work for everybody who faces a smoky and unbreathable air. Now, my field is Buddhist studies, and Buddhism and AI, even in our field, needs to be looked at. We research and we try to understand a religion. How are we going to do it in the future? What is our way of doing that? We learned pretty much how to deal with bamboo and palm leaves. We learned how to deal with our manuscript tradition. But now we have the silicon chip, and it's all there on this tiny little thing that would fit on our fingertip. We are struggling with that. You can make the canon of Buddhism as big as this one in Myanmar, over 700 slabs of marble with the Pali Canon carved on it. And yet you can carry the same amount of material in this tiny little chip that is available to us, and we can use it. But it also says that because we have so much data and we have the way to deal with it, we must understand it's dangerous. It's dangerous. How can we go from written text to an analytic analysis that is done virtually? How will we maintain the authenticity of our written material? how can we deal with the future world? So I closed with saying, we did live in a time where everything I thought I knew is now not quite right. And yet at the same time, the ethical and moral positions are exactly what they have been in the past. That's why I said tonight, I was so pleased to see Master Hsing Yun's talk. I was so pleased to hear him in the past refer to issues which were to happen to us in the future. And that is something which I look very much forward to dealing with in whatever years are left to me. So I thank you very much for asking me to think about these things. I think about them, and I wish for the compassion that comes because everything I've said belongs to all of us. We are all in it together. None of us is outside the realm of what we have to deal with. So I thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Professor Lancaster, for giving us such a wonderful opening to the colloquium, to guide us in thinking about the kind of challenges, the kind of future that we need to be ready to embrace. As Buddhists, as we reflect on these future challenges, this shall invite us to apply compassion, mindfulness, and responsibility. As we think about, while personal bonds may mimic emotions, genuine connections and empathy shall remain uniquely human. With an aging population, we can embrace impermanence and honor the elderly, practicing compassion and gratitude. Global pandemics remind us of life's uncertainties, calling for the resilience and unity among humanity through ethical actions. Last but not least, limited water resources and polluted air highlight interdependence and the need for mindful consumption, encouraging gratitude and sustainable practices. Together, these reflections guide us to face the future with kindness, wisdom, and ethical stewardship. Let us look forward to our future sessions today and tomorrow in order to explore diverse and possible solutions that we can act upon together. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Lancaster.